Good morning, everyone. This is Max, and I am here at the Valentine Eastern Sierra Reserve in Mammoth Lakes, California. And for this episode, I'm actually going to take you around the main meadow trail here on the reserve and kind of do some bird watching and show you where a lot of the birds are and where they like to be here on this reserve. It's an amazing place to bird watch. Unfortunately, this place is only available for researchers to be at who are doing research in the Sierras, and I have permission to be here because I'm doing work with some other people from UCSB on the mountain yellow-legged frogs, but more about that in another video. But anyway, if I see any cool birds, I will show them to you. So let's get started. So just so you get an idea of what the main reserve looks like, these are some of the cabins we're staying at. Mine is over here. We'll take a look at that when we're done with the tour. But yeah, the researchers just stay here in these cabins. Some people do research here actually on the reserve, but a lot of people, me included, just stay here. Then we go to other parts of the Sierras to do research in different places. So this is the trail we're gonna take, and let's get started. Got a Wilson's warbler over there. A little bit hard to see because he's very flighty, but they're really cool. They're these small, pretty yellow birds, and they like to hang out in places with like all this aspen and a willow. There are cool birds around here, like around my cabins. I see the robins a lot, American robins. Hopefully we'll see one of them today. And then we just saw Wilson's warbler, and they like all of these willow thickets. That's one of their main habitats they like. Yeah, this drainage goes down over here. Yeah, this woodland's really nice. I've seen, sorry for the lighting, I've seen mountain chickadees around the forest edge here. Hopefully we'll see some of them. They're pretty common. Also woodpeckers like to hang out around here because there's all of the pine trees over there. And I've seen some vireros too. So now we're coming up to the creek. You can't hear it. And you notice, even if you didn't hear it, you see the birch and asp right here, which means we're getting reasonably close to where some water is. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so lots of cool creeks in the Sierras, but it's nice to see them in the East Sierras because the East Sierras can just be so dry. And one of the main birds that you can find along creeks in the Sierras is the western wood peewee. This is a type of flycatcher. They would usually hang out like these aspen trees up here on some of these higher branches. I'm sure I'll find some and show them toward the end of the video, and I'll mention this again. But yeah, western wood peewees, they like to hang out by stream sides. They catch flies. That's their main food source. They're also very territorial. I've noticed that like there's pairs of them. They hang out in a very particular spot. You can find them again and again. And if any other birds of different species show up in their territory, they will actively pursue them and make them go away. So, really cool birds. So there's another creek over here. I think it kind of just splits into two somewhere. So coming up to this. We have our herons here. Oh, there's a bird up there. He flew away though. I can't get a picture of him. Yeah, I don't see any today, but normally around this creek there's a few black-crowned night herons that hang out kind of up here in some of these higher branches of the trees. They usually fly away when I come, but like I haven't seen any. So there's the warbling Barrero. It's making all that noise. It's preening right now. Those who don't know, preening means that the birds go through their feathers and make sure they're all in tip-top shape so that they can fly and stay warm. But yeah, right now he's preening, so we can't really hear him, but, oh, there he goes. Yeah, they make really wonderful songs. Like, you're much more likely to hear them than you are to see them. But if you do see them, it's pretty cool. But yeah, unfortunately that's the best video we're gonna get because he's far away. Okay. This area that we're going into is a lot of birds. The area I'm walking through right now is really good for mountain chickadees. I've seen American robins here. And then there's also a lot of these flowers, like right there. I think that's Indian paintbrush. Could be wrong, I'm not a flower expert. And then they're all gone, but there were some tiger lilies or leopard lilies around here as well. And those have attracted hummingbirds, so this area is actually really good for hummingbirds. Yeah, whenever you find flowers, that's usually a good sign for some sort of pollinator, but in this case, it's hummingbirds. Okay, so this is actually the main attraction of the reserve if you just want to come around and bird watch. This is the meadow, I'm not going to walk in the meadow because that's actually very bad for it. Just a bit of stepping can really mess up the grass. It's really sensitive. Yeah, lots of birds around here, and so hopefully I can find some and show them to you. So far the birds have been scarce, either that or I've been so focused on the video that I have not been looking as hard for birds. But yeah, we'll hopefully see some soon. Another quick thing I want to mention about meadows, and I'm not sure if this is the case for this meadow, but it probably is that a lot of the meadows lower down in the Sierras where you have like the conifers and then you just have all this grass in between were likely made this way by the indigenous peoples who lived here for a long time and technically still do live here. But when they were working the land, they would keep these meadows open because it would help certain plants grow. Like, I'm not sure if these are the plants they were working for, but like a lot of these plants you're seeing in the screen right here are specialized for like meadow habitats, and they wouldn't be able to thrive in like forests like that. So in order to have those spaces and have all the animals and birds that like these meadows around, the indigenous peoples would actually have controlled burns. They'd create fire, and they would keep these areas open. If there were any like little tree saplings, those would just get cooked when they were young, and then that would keep the forest from expanding into the meadow. And so you have it where these open areas are cleared, and they did this for literally centuries and generations. And so that's honestly presented some of these wonderful meadows that we have, including the ones in Yosemite National Park. If you've ever seen those were definitely created by indigenous people. So we have a lot to thank them for and a lot to learn from them for how to preserve and maintain this wonderful ecosystem we have here in the Sierras. Okay, continuing on, it was cool to see the Barreros. There were actually a couple of them flying around in the trees and singing up there. But yeah, this area we just came from, I see hummingbirds a lot in these trees over here. American robins like to be up here. And then at the tops of some of these trees, including this dead one up here, I've seen northern flickers, which are a type of woodpecker. Put an image of them in here as well. And I said hummingbirds, let's see, also western tanagers. There's a better spot for western tanagers that I'll show you. but this spot also is pretty good. And you never know, like there's also deer that come through here. So it really is nice to explore this meadow. You just never know what you're gonna find. And then here we're going up to some willow. As I said earlier, willow's good for the Wilson's warbler, which is probably one of my favorite warbler species. But I haven't seen any here. Maybe it's just too little willow. And then I've also seen lots of hummingbirds around here. They like to perch up here, and song sparrows too. They like it up there. And then also I've seen white-crowned sparrows here. I've seen them around here, around that bush, and then also in the sagebrush area, which is where we're going now. Okay, so we're continuing on. Here's another good view of the meadow. I really like it up here. So yeah, that's where, that area over there is where we were, where I was talking about all the stuff that's out here. And here's like the sagebrush that we're in. Sagebrush, I've noticed, has been really good for white-crowned sparrows. I think they like the really open areas. But unfortunately, there's none around today. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's partially cloudy? I'm not sure. This area right here, for a while, had a family of Brewers Blackbirds living around here. They really like that big dead stump that's there. But I haven't seen them in a while, so maybe they were just here for a little while in the summer and they've moved on. I don't know. Now we're gonna basically start moving into more of this pine forest, and that should have some more interesting species. So this is kind of cool. We got a white-crowned sparrow down there. There he is. You can see him. And then there, I think, somewhere around here there's, oh yeah, there's a wren and its fledgling. I think it's a house wren, but I'm not sure. I haven't seen a lot of wrens around here, so I don't know their habits. That was cool to see. I think they're gone now. But yeah, fledglings, for those who don't know, are basically what chicks are when they've gotten their actual feathers and are preparing to leave the nest. And they're like practicing their flying. Yeah, there's one of those wrens. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is a house wren. Cool. So this food is probably not going to be the best, but it's actually a white-crowned sparrow up here. And since I had a reasonable view of him, I thought I'd give you a picture. There he's doing some preening, making sure that his feathers are nice. And he's the one making all those clicking noises. So yeah, these are the ones I was talking about, are really common in open areas up in the Sierras. So they like the sagebrush. If you go higher in the Sierras, they'll actually be in the higher meadows where very few other birds are. And if you go to the California coast, which is not where we are, they're actually year-round resident, and you can find them all the time. A lot of places like this, they're actually only here for part of the year. I think in the Sierras, they just go lower in elevation if they want to when the winter comes. They don't actually leave. But in some places, like further in the interior of Western North America, they're only there for part of the year. Yeah, you can see him, he's really preening well right now. He also has his feathers puffed up right now because it's not cold, but it's a cool morning. And birds, if they, just like with us when we shiver and we have our hairs lift up, that's to keep us warm. Birds do the same sort of thing when they puff up their breast with their feathers. That's to keep in more warm air right next to their body and keep them warm. Okay, well, we're going to leave this guy to it. Move on. Okay, continue on. So here we have all of this sage scrub, and now we're heading into the pine forest. Birding in the forest is actually a lot harder than open areas because there's way more areas for the birds to hide and go. And so yeah, you have to really look around, make sure you can pinpoint where their calls are coming from and see their movement. Also, before I go in, I'm not sure what these berry bushes are. Like, they do have berries, like you can see right there, all of that red stuff. But apparently the American robins like this, because I saw an American robin eating here once. So, yeah, these are good. American robins really like berries. I know they're a generalist and will eat other stuff, but I think berries is one of their favorite stuff. Okay. So, here's what we're going into. This kind of like, really dark, like pine forest. So hopefully we'll get to see some of the birds that are in here. Right now it's really quiet, but I'm hoping that will change. So we're almost to the edge of this tiny little patch of forest. Also, there's a little stream that went by there, a very tiny one, like wasn't worth showing, but you can just see how that affects the plant growth. Like look at all this plant stuff here. And that provides a lot of cover for insects, and insects in turn are food for birds. So it's great. And also, check out this enormous pine tree. I don't want to even think about how old that tree is, but I'd be willing to bet it's at least a century old. Like if I put my hand on this, you'll see, like look at that. It's just a really big tree. So this is actually one of the western wood peewees I was talking about. This isn't normally where I see them. This may actually be a different individual than I normally see. And when he does that and he flies away, he's basically trying to catch flies, and then he goes back to his perch. So right now he's looking for flies, and if he finds one, he'll fly away and go look for it. This is actually a weird spot to see him because we're kind of far away from a main stream side. So yeah, they normally like being next to streams, but yeah, still cool to see. They're fly catchers, because they do that thing where they try and catch insects in midair. Yes, midair, they will actually catch an insect while flying. And as I said earlier, they're very territorial. They have certain perches that they like to hang out for most of the day. And if there's any other bird species that come around, they will actively push them away so that they do not compete with food or take away their territory. So yeah, really cool birds. I'm glad we got to see a good look at one. Really common in the Sierras, I've found, especially in this reserve, but like in the Sierras in general. They're also found lower down in like chaparral areas and stream sides in lower areas. He just took a poo. But they're much rarer there. I think the Sierras and the high mountains is one of the better places to see them. That's really cool. Yeah, he just keeps going out to look for flies. I'm not sure what their success rate is, but I mean, they're really skilled flyers, like really accurate. They are able to catch a fly in midair, which is more than I could say. I would never be able to do that. It's like, you'd kind of, if you've seen The Karate Kid, would have to catch a fly with some chopsticks to be able to compare with these guys, and they do it way more accurately than I think any of us could do. Oh wow, that was a cool flight. Yeah. Huh, there he goes. Oh, another one. Yeah, really cool birds. Glad we got to see them. We're gonna leave this guy alone and move on. Here's that meadow viewed from the other side. Also, I just saw a city grouse literally fly away from here that was sitting here. I couldn't tell whether it was a chick or an adult, so I'm actually going to carefully go over here, see if we can get a glimpse of one. I think our luck ran out for that city grouse. I don't think we're gonna get a good look at him, but I will put a picture in here of what they look like. They're really cool birds, and as far as this reserve goes, they're probably one of my favorite birds to find. There's also a male that I've heard calling, but I've never actually seen around here. They make this really low sound that's really difficult to locate, and honestly, it may be one of the lowest frequency sounds made by any bird. So we've actually got a lot of birds here. I think these are purple finches, though they could be Cason's finches. Oh, There's one of those orange-crowned warblers I was talking about before. And they like to go to lots of places. Man, I don't know if you saw that, but like, man, there's birds everywhere. Where's the one I'm focusing on? Sorry, oh, there he is. Yeah, it's another one of the finches. Yeah, I noticed this area is where the finches like to hang out. They're not the most common bird here, but they're definitely found in good numbers. And yeah, I think they're all flying off. I will also mention while we're coming up to it, this rock, which is in the scrub, has been a notable perch for, I believe, either a song or fox sparrow, where it is like to sing up there. So yeah, there's the male finch. And I believe there's a female over here. I think she flew off actually. So yeah, just the male. There was a female. There was a lot of finches around here. Like, I've definitely seen them up here before, but I think this is the most I've seen up here. So over here, I believe we have another orange-crowned warbler. It's either that or a finch. I'll have to put in what it is. Yeah, I couldn't get a good look. Also, another finch up there. Yeah. Here's another finch. Yeah, lots of these out today. On the same tree as that last finch is an American robin feeding a fledgling. That one to the left is the fledgling, and then the other one is the adult. Yeah, so they're really common out here in like the open woods of like the pine trees. And I generally think they're more common in the eastern United States, but if you go to the western United States and you go to the pine forest, they're actually really common. So yeah, it's really cool. I wanted to show more of the scrub over here, but there was just so much bird life that it was really difficult for me to do so. Now we're gonna head more into this birch woodland edge and see some other stuff. They're not here today, or at least I don't see them, but up there at the top of those birch trees is normally where I see a pair of western wood peewees. They really like this area. I think they really like the birch trees or aspen in general. And then I've also seen northern flickers around here. As you can hear today, I see a lot of other bird species around here. Yeah, really cool spot. I generally find this is a good spot in the meadow. I mean in the reserve for birds. So hopefully this footage is coming out well. There's one of the black-headed grosbeaks. This isn't the one I saw earlier in the video, but I did see a few these a few minutes ago, and here's one of them. As I was saying earlier, these birds, I believe, are a bit more uncommon in the East Sierras, but I've seen a few of them on the reserve, and I've seen a lot of them today, which is kind of weird. So it's been a good day for them. Over here, I don't know how good the footage is really going to come out, but here we have one of my favorite birds in the Sierras. That was a summer tanager, a male. They're a migrant here that just comes in the summer along western North America. Really pretty. The males are really bright yellow and have that bright red head. But he kind of sucked back in there. Let's see if we can get another good look at him. Yeah, I'm not sure where the tanager went, but there is a robin here, and both of them seem to be feeding off the berries of this bush. I think this is the one I mentioned earlier. Not the exact bush, but like the type of bush I mentioned earlier that the robins like to eat from. So back there, there's a nice old robin that just flew over there. And we'll get video of him in a second. But anyway, this is the area over there where all the birch trees were at the edge of the woodland, and so many finches just flew down. And now we're kind of going over more into this pine woods. So we'll see what we find over here. So I hope the footage of this guy's coming out well. It's not the best footage, but that's a red-naped sapsucker. And They're a pretty common woodpecker species around here. I've seen them a good amount in the reserve. Yeah, and as their name suggests, one of their favorite foods is actually the sap and pine resin of the pine trees. Oh, there he goes. And yeah, they'll make holes into like the pine trees to drain the sap, and then they'll feed as it oozes out. So really cool little woodpeckers. Hopefully you can see it, but there's actually a Steller's jay back there on that pine tree. That's the bluebird. Kind of right at the tree. There he went. He just hopped. Yeah, they're one of the bigger, smarter birds out here. Usually in flocks, making lots of cool noises. So yeah, he only gave us a brief look. But yeah, it's pretty cool. There's actually another look at him. He came back out in the open. Here's another look at an American robin. Again, really common in the pine areas of the woodlands up here. And they eat berries, probably a lot of other stuff. Should honestly research more about what they eat. But yeah, even though they're really common, they are really cool looking birds, and they make some cool noises too. But he's kind of just chilling there. I'm hoping he'll turn around for us. Yeah, there he goes. Here's the waterfall over here for the main creek that goes through the reserve. I have been down there right below the waterfall. It is really nice. Also, we're probably not going to see any, and I've only seen them once, but there are American dippers over by the falls over there. For those who don't know, dippers, I'll put a picture of them on this video, but dippers are these really cool gray birds that basically dive into creeks to find aquatic invertebrates under the water, and then they catch them and then they eat them. And yeah, they dive in these really cold streams in the mountains. But yeah, really cool birds. And yeah, definitely one of the great species to look for whenever you go to a mountain stream. But anyway, we're not going to keep going down here and go downhill a little bit. There's one of the deer I saw. It's a young buck. I also saw, I think, a female. But I'm going to see if I can get a bit closer. They're already moving off, but yeah. Yeah, deer are really common here on the reserve. I see them every day I'm here. And not the same one each time either. Like, I will see different ones. So it's definitely multiple deer use the reserve here. And they're really common, but they're still really beautiful animals. And really charismatic. There he is. He's looking at me, he's wondering what I'm doing. So I disturbed him and his mate. I think at least his mate. And then the female, if I can focus on her, where is she? Ah, yeah. She's over there. Not as good of a view, but you know, it's deer. Yeah, he's definitely really pretty. Well, I'm gonna try not to disturb them too much and let them do their thing. They're probably just resting over here at the edge of the woods. Okay, so now we're gonna leave this meadow behind and leave all the pine forest. And now we're going over here into the birch woods surrounding the creek. For sure, the things I'm looking for, like the warbling vireros. I've seen them around here. There's some western wood peewees up here again. And then the trees along this path, once we cross the creek, are the best spot in the reserve to look for the western tanager. So hopefully we'll see some of those birds and some other stuff that I'm not thinking about. Okay, so here's the river in the reserve. The waterfall is back that way. Yeah, here's this.
Look at around here. This area is good for Wilson's warblers and orange crown warblers too, which we've been seeing a decent amount of today. So I do not hear the western wood peewees, but they normally hang out right there on that perch. And all of these birch trees right here, kind of around here, up there, and over there, where I see the western tanagers. And normally I hear at least one calling, but I don't hear them today. So I'm probably not going to get a look at one here. So it's a really good thing we saw one earlier on our walk this morning. There's another western wood peewee up there. This is another area that I do see him, like right here next to the cabin. I see him a good amount. Also, if you hear that call, like, bear, that's him. There he goes. Wait for him to do it again. Yeah. Hello again, everyone. So that is the end of the bird tour. Not as many birds here at the end as I was hoping for, but yeah, it was really cool. I hope this was fun and educational for you all. I'm hoping to have more videos come out soon. Yeah, I'm hoping you enjoyed this, and I will hopefully see you in the next video.